11 down on 6.
But this is 11. It's almost twice as hard up here.
Laugh tracks and studio audiences aren't around as much anymore. Aside from morning and late night shows, SNL, and a handful of sitcoms, fewer and fewer shows still feature any sort of audience participation. So it's easy to ask, why did they exist to begin with? And if they did fill a role in television, what's replaced them? I'm Phil Jameson, and this is Dissecting the Frog. Comedy is old. Storytellers have been around practically as long as language has been around. And one of the most important skills of a storyteller is knowing their material well enough to make adjustments on the fly. This is why many, if not most, stand-up comedians will tell you that the best way to enjoy their comedy is live. The comedian adjusts their stories and jokes to the audience's reaction, so if you're there, it's almost tailor-made to you. This is usually done by adjusting the timing of punchlines and tags. Tags are additional punchlines that use the same premise.
It's amazing. 30 seconds and we get invested in those characters on the commercial. You know, that old man who can eat corn on the cob again? I'm happy for him. He couldn't eat it for a while. Now he can.
So these pauses, or beats after punchlines, serve as a cue to laugh from the performer, and also give you a moment to enjoy it.
Wait. You get that?
When you're in the room with everyone else who's laughing, there's also an element of contagious laughter. Everyone is sharing the specific feeling of being in that room that night. And that feeling can vary greatly from night to night, with different audiences watching the same comedian doing the same act. So, back to television. Comedy on television in its early days had heavy influences from live performers, vaudeville comedians, and theater. Remember, this is a brand new medium to everyone involved. It makes sense that performers and producers both felt more comfortable recreating a live show. On the other hand, television also borrowed a single camera setup from film. That is, they filmed the same scene multiple times from different angles. The issue is that for comedies, telling the same joke twice to the same audience will get a very different reaction. And separately from that, reactions aren't reliable. Sometimes people won't laugh when you expect them to, or will laugh longer than you expect. Again, if you're doing stand-up, that's fine. Speed up your performance or wait it out as necessary.
The hell is wrong with you? Those days are over.
But if you're making a sitcom, following a script, trying to match the timing of the first angle of the shoot, and there's 5 performers up there at the same time, you can't adapt so quickly. So enter the laugh track. Charlie Douglas, a sound engineer at CBS, invented his laughter-generating laugh box. And for a long time, he was responsible for almost all the canned laughter in comedy. Even after multi-camera setups made it possible for scenes to be shot just once, there's still no guarantee a live audience gives you the laugh you want. So producers were given a hammer, and every joke on every show started to look like a nail.
Your name is Muriel.
Shh. It is a family name.
Chandler Muriel Bing.
But let's look at laugh tracks from a comedic perspective. There are a couple issues. First, sometimes you think something is funny and it just isn't. It hurts, but it's true, and forcing a fake laugh out of a joke that doesn't work might create a more negative perception of the joke in your audience than having no laugh at all. Second, the timing is critical to a joke. Maybe you do have a funny joke, but you don't have the laugh track respond with the appropriate amount of laughter. Maybe it's too little and your audience gets their laugh cut short. Or maybe it's too much and your audience says, enough, it wasn't that funny. On the other hand, the use of laugh tracks as opposed to just a studio audience allows for the creator of a show to exhibit more control over their final product, which in a more general sense makes for a more polished show. It's also certainly possible that a particular audience missed a good joke, or that well-placed and well-timed laughs can enhance a joke. As with anything, a good artist will use a tool well. Regardless, for a long time, and with few exceptions, sitcoms either had a laugh track, a live audience, or both. What changed? Well, as a medium matures, people innovate. And since, to some extent, laugh tracks and studio audiences are an anachronism from television imitating live performances, creators looked to different methods of fulfilling the purpose of a laugh track in a better way. The Office, both the earlier UK series and the later American series, ditched the laugh track and used character reactions to fill the beats and serve as cues to laugh. Using reactions of other characters adds an element that is typically missing when using a laugh track: a relationship. Much like the stand-up comedian timing a laugh, only instead the actors time their counterpart's response. It's also analogous to the feeling of contagious laughter, since the characters are bringing you in on the joke. Sometimes they literally laugh. The more you empathize with the characters, the funnier the reactions get, and the funnier the jokes get. It's been so effective and funny that the Jim Halpert face is its own punchline, separate from the show. Other shows come to mind. Arrested Development was one of the first American shows to not use a laugh track, and they really pushed the envelope as far as alternative ways to cue laughter and give laughs space. They used character reactions as beats and as their own standalone tags to the punchline.
Magic trick, huh?
Illusion, Michael. Trick is something a whore does for money. Or cocaine.
And they made one of the most inventive jokes that I've ever seen in a sitcom. Watch how they give the premise space, how they react to the punchline, and how they tag the joke.
Hang on a sec. That's part of your trick, right?
No. That's not my trick, Michael.
On the next Arrested Development,
It's my illusion.
Michael relives a wedding nightmare.
Push him in the pool.
Eric Andre uses reaction clips on his show, too. But imitating a late-night show, he also uses the flaws of a laugh track to his advantage. One being wild applause at a joke that shouldn't land.
Speaking of climate change, when is Hannibal Buress going to start thinking about some underwear change? Am I right, ladies?
And somehow he used both reaction shots and canned audience responses, while also preemptively making fun of me analyzing him.
Words, punchline.
You did it! You broke comedy down to its bare essentials!
Character reactions have, since the mid-2000s, become a mainstay of American comedies. Tina Fey uses them in 30 Rock and Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. They're in Parks and Rec and The Good Place, and over the past decade, laugh tracks have, for the most part, been slowly phased out. Meanwhile, character reactions have even taken root as punchlines and tags online, responding to people with reaction GIFs that frame what they said in a new or comedic way. Television has become the mature medium that influences newer mediums, and it all started with the laugh track. The laugh track was that first step towards mastering the capabilities of a television program. Even with its flaws, it showed that the creator has the last word on how they want to tell their story. And that allowed people like Ricky Gervais, Tina Fey, and Eric Andre to experiment with the form.
Who killed Hannibal?
It's good to make use of the capabilities of your medium and discard the limitations of other mediums. And Charlie Douglas making that original innovation is something that helped comedy on television mature into what we have today.